Imagine showing up late for first period. You're walking across campus half awake, backpack on, thinking about lunch, homework, whatever. Normal school stuff. Now imagine somebody tells you, by the way, over 200 years ago, soldiers were preparing for war right here. Not nearby, not somewhere across town. Right where students walk every day. Because hidden beneath one American high school is a story that started long before lockers, football games, or yearbooks ever existed. And once you hear it, you'll never look at schools the same way again. Today we're talking about Haddonfield Memorial High School in Haddonfield. At first glance, it looks like a normal high school. Sports teams, classrooms, students rushing to class. But the land underneath it has a timeline stretching back hundreds of years. A timeline involving foreign soldiers, a warning that may have changed lives, and a piece of American history that most students probably walk over without even thinking about. To understand why this school is different, we have to rewind, way back. Before cars, before phones, before America was even America. We're in the late 1770s. The Revolutionary War is happening. The colonies are fighting for independence from Britain. And things were messy. No social media, no instant communication, no group chats. Information moved by horse, which meant one warning, one person, could completely change what happened next. Around the Haddonfield area, troops were moving through the region, including Hessian soldiers. Now, if you've never heard of Hessians before, here's the simple version. They weren't British. They were German soldiers hired to fight alongside the British Army. Basically, imagine another country getting paid to join somebody else's fight.
What?
And according to historical accounts, Hessian troops used land in this area as a place to camp while preparing for military movement connected to the Battle of Red Bank. Now keep that in mind, because this next part gets interesting. A man named Jonas Kettel enters the story, and depending on which version of local history you read, his decision became a pretty big deal. Historical accounts say Kettel learned information involving Hessian troop movement. Instead of staying quiet, he ran to warn colonial forces. Think about that for a second. No car, no bike, no text message, just running. Running because if people didn't know what was coming, the outcome could be different. Local accounts say his warning helped colonial forces prepare before the Battle of Red Bank. And years later, the land connected to these stories eventually changed again. Because war camps don't stay war camps forever. But history has a weird way of sticking around. As time moved forward, the sound of marching soldiers eventually disappeared. The war ended, America changed, and the land changed too. Because here's the thing about places with history. They rarely stay just one thing. The same ground that once saw military movement and wartime activity eventually became tied to larger properties and estates connected to the Haddonfield area. One of the names that appears in the history of the property is the Middleton family. And later, the land became associated with what people knew as the Breaker property and mansion area before the school era began. Now, picture this transition for a second. One timeline, soldiers, dust, horse tracks, people moving through uncertain times. Then another timeline, large homes, families, communities growing. Then, eventually, schools, students, hallways, lockers. Imagine someone from the 1770s somehow seeing that future. Imagine telling a Hessian soldier, in a few hundred years, teenagers are going to be walking around here asking if the homework is graded. They would have looked at you like you completely lost your mind. But that's exactly what happened, and this is where the story takes another turn. Because Haddonfield Memorial High School wasn't just built as another school, it was built to remember something. A lot of people probably hear the name Haddonfield Memorial High School and don't think twice. But words matter, especially in older schools. The school opened in 1927, and the word memorial wasn't random. It was created in memory of local men who lost their lives serving during World War I. Think about that. Most schools are named after people, or locations, or mascots. But this one carries memory directly in the name itself. Every football game, every graduation, every school announcement, every student saying, "Yeah, I go to Haddonfield Memorial," is repeating a name connected to people who never made it home. And most students probably aren't thinking about that while heading to chemistry class. But history does this weird thing. It hides in plain sight. You stop noticing it because it's always there. Kind of like living next to a monument and eventually driving past it every day without realizing what it means. Until somebody tells you the story, and suddenly everything looks different. Now here's the part that got me thinking. Right now, there are students walking across that campus, talking with friends, checking phones, trying to survive tests, thinking about prom, thinking about sports, living completely normal lives. And under all of that, there's a timeline stretching back hundreds of years. Foreign troops once moved through the area. Warnings that affected wartime decisions happened nearby. The land evolved, communities changed, generations passed. And now, students casually walk over pieces of history most people never even notice. That's honestly the crazy part. Not ghosts, not curses, not secret tunnels, just time. Because when you really think about it, history isn't locked inside textbooks. It's under parking lots, under neighborhoods, under schools, under places people pass every day. And most of us never even know it. Every school has a story. Some are obvious, some are hidden. And some make you realize you've probably walked over history without knowing it. But here's the question. How many other schools in America are sitting on land with stories nobody talks about? Because the next school we found might be even stranger.